Hey, it's Coach H. So last year I made a video that I spoke about different player positions in Canadian football. I didn't really like the video, so I'm going to take it down and I'm going to replace it with a new one. Now, when we talk about Canadian football, we have one extra player. There's a slight rule change which changes how our players play, and otherwise, that one player becomes a slot back, and so slot backs exist in American football. The only difference is really what the slot back can do, and then there's one terminology name that just becomes different, but everything else is pretty much essentially the same. So I also want to talk a little bit about the characteristics of global positions, just in case there's any new players or any coaches that are looking at, well, I have this athlete, the kid's athletic, but where exactly might he fit in the game of football in general? So when we talk about football, we have our offensive line. So we have our center, our guards, and our tackles. Okay? These guys are generally the big guys on the team. So they are big, they're strong, they have to be able to block on the run, which means they have to be able to push guys out of the way, but at the same time, they have to be able to back up and protect the quarterback. Okay? That brings me to the next thing, which is the quarterback. So the quarterback is the genius of the team. Quarterback should be able to have a very decent arm in throwing. Now, the quarterback also needs to be able to be an athlete. Depending on your team, depending on your scheme, sometimes your quarterback can be a runner, sometimes your quarterback can be a passer, and the best quarterbacks are those that can do both and that can be a dual threat. But the most important thing is your quarterback has to be a leader, and your quarterback has to be one of the smartest people on your football team. Behind the quarterback now, I'm going to draw a spread offense for the coaches that know what I'm talking about here. Behind the quarterback, we have one player, and we are going to call this player the running back. So in Canadian football, when we talk about the halfback plays on defense. We have either a running back or we have a tailback, and that's the terminology we use. So we don't term a halfback for an offensive player who carries the ball. Running backs, usually very fast guys, very agile guys. They have to be able to be strong. So you have to have a certain amount of strength to be a running back, because running backs are going to get hit maybe 20 to 30 times a game. So you have to be able to take that physical beating, that physical pounding, and get up and be able to perform at the same level. So your running backs are, those big, strong, maybe not necessarily big, but they're strong, they're fast, and they're agile. Those are your running backs. Now, otherwise, now we have our wide receivers, okay? So we have, just gonna draw a circle here. We have our wide receivers. Wide receivers, speedy guys that are able to catch the ball. And then what's new in football is we have anywhere from 2 to 3 slot backs, okay? So these guys here are generally a little smaller. However, if you have a tall slot back, that's great. And the difference is these guys are they're speedsters. They're very agile. Because in Canadian football, we are allowed to use motion. And so we can attack the line running. So slot backs, generally speaking, are receivers who are a little more agile than a wide receiver, meaning that they won't necessarily start on the line and take off and go. Slot back can also be somebody who's able to carry the ball, because in several offensive schemes, we will actually hand the ball off to a slot back and have the slot back try and get out into space and be able to run. They often need to be able to block as well. So your slot back is more of, if you think about it, or generally your receiver types are more of the average athlete who's not necessarily the biggest guy, not necessarily the smallest guy, but has decent speed and most importantly can catch a football. So that right there recaps the Canadian football positions for anybody playing on offense.